What is up, YouTube? It is the Ville Outdoors here. Today is September 6th of 2020. Now, I am actually outside of Phoenixville right now. I am actually in the middle of White Clay Creek Park. Now, I'm not sure if this is White Clay Creek I'm in. I would check, but Google Maps is not working right now because I don't have any service. I haven't been here long. I probably fished for about 10 minutes and caught one redbreast sunfish so far. Right now I just have the trout magnet tied on in gold color. Since this is the first time I've been to this creek, I have the trout magnet tied on to try and get this place figured out, see what kind of different species are in here, and then we can kind of go. I just had a big bite right there. Then we can kind of go from there to see what else we can catch. But right now I'm fishing this little eddy behind these rocks that are piled up right in front of me right here, and casting into this eddy, and hopefully we're gonna get another bite. That last cast I made, I felt a pretty good bite, but couldn't hook the fish. These aren't the regular trout magnet jig heads I'm using. I actually ran out of those, so I gotta order more. So we're gonna see if these jig heads can do the same work that the trout magnet ones do, and hopefully I can catch a few good fish for you guys. But this is my first time here, so we're just gonna figure it out today and maybe come back in the future and get the reel fishing done. I know this is a popular trout stream, so maybe we'll have to come back and do some trout fishing later in the year or early next year. Guys, we got a fish on. Let's see what we got here. Seems pretty stubborn, whatever it is. Oh, we got a nicer redbreast sunfish than the one we caught earlier. That's a bit better sized one. Pretty little guy. Hopefully this place isn't plagued with redbreast sunfish, but we'll see. That as our first fish on video today. Our second fish of the day in total. Pretty nice fish. I like the colors on them. Alright, let's go ahead and let Mr. Sunfish go. See if he's not going to spine me here. There we go. Nice, easy unhooking. And there he goes. Back in the water. At least now I know I should have brought my waders. It's about a little bit past my knees already. And I haven't even gone too far from where I was last standing. It looks like it's kind of shallower out in the middle. I don't know if it stays like that for too long. I may just end up getting up on the bank and getting back in the creek that way. That's probably what I'll do. Find some shallower water, because I'm not even seeing too many fish over here anyway. So I'm gonna get out of the creek and spare freezing my butt off, because it is still early in the morning. It's about 6:30 right now, and it's pretty cold. Air temperature is down to about maybe 60 degrees, something like that. I haven't checked, but it's cold. I just know that. Some really deep water in this creek. I don't know how deep that eddy is in front of me is, but it's pretty deep right there. You can see the water kind of circling back around. Oh, and we got a fish on here. Hopefully it doesn't come off, whatever it is. Oh, it's another one of these guys. Hopefully there is something other than redbreast sunfish in this creek that will come on the end of our line. If after a while we keep getting these redbreast sunfish, we're probably going to have to switch up lures, because there's our third one of the day. Guys, we got another fish on, and it is a smallmouth bass. That is our first one of the day, and it is a small one for sure. But that might mean that there are bigger ones in here, so we'll just have to put some time in and see if something bigger and better comes up. Guys, we got another fish on. I think it's another redbreast, but this one's a bit nicer. Oh yeah, there we go. Third or fourth redbreast of the day. probably the fourth one. Beautiful colors on that guy. Let's go ahead and give him a nice quick release. All right, there he is. Oh, slipped out of my hand. Oh well. Guys, I think we got something different here. What is this? Oh no, not this guy again. It's a Fallfish. Oh man, I can never seem to escape these guys. Alright, let's give this guy a quick unhooking. There he is. And let's release him. These fish are all coming out of like 6 inches of water over here. Weird. Alright guys, I only have an hour left to fish here, and then I gotta head home. So hopefully we can make some magic happen in this last hour and catch a ton of fish. Whether it's gonna happen or not, I don't know, but we're gonna try our hardest, and hopefully we can get some fish on the board. Let's see what we can make happen. Guys, we got a better fish on right here. A little bit nicer smallmouth. Nothing huge, but a fish is a fish. So there's our smallmouth bass right there. Nothing too spectacular, like I said. Nothing I'm not used to catching, but we've been struggling a little bit today, so I'll take that. Alright guys, I decided to spend the last little bit of time I have at this creek micro fishing. So I got our Tanago hook rigged up with a little piece of worm, and I found this little offshoot of this creek. I'm just gonna stealthily head over to this pool of flowing water and try and target one of these little fish I saw in here. See if we can pick up a new species for the day. Alright guys, so after I found that small little creek on the side when I was at White Clay Creek, I forgot to turn the camera on because I was too excited to potentially go after and catch a new species. And while I was exploring that little creek on the side there, I actually did catch a new species after exploring a little bit, and that ended up being the Rosyside Dace, which is species number 61 for me. So that was pretty cool to see that fish. Really cool colors on it. But yeah, I forgot to record that part of the video, and after going over the footage one more time, I saw that I only had 7 minutes of footage, and that's just wasn't going to cut it for a video. So right now I'm at the French Creek. I got a little Rapala floating jerkbait tied on right now. I think it's the X-Rap series. And we're ready to go after some smallmouth bass and maybe do a little bit more multi-species fishing if nothing takes the jerkbait. I've seen a few smallmouth followed up so far, but we'll see if we can get some nice ones to show up. I know there's potential for good fish in here, so we're just gonna give it some casts and see what comes up. Guys, we got our first fish of the day coming up right here. A little smallmouth bass. Took the Rapala jerkbait in perch color. There's no perch in here, but that is what we had to imitate a minnow, so that's why I tied on. Alright, let's go ahead and release our little smallmouth bass. There it goes. Back into the water. Guys, we got another smallmouth on and he came off. Oh, and another one picked it up. There's a school of them. There's got to be 50 of these things. Oh my gosh. There's not actually 50, but there are so many smallmouth bass over there. And they're hungry. It's like as soon as another one dropped it, there was one that picked it up. That was absolutely insane. Where did all those fish come from? I don't know if you saw that on camera or not, but that was crazy. Let's see if I can repeat that. Oh, I got one following it. Come on, fish. Where'd you go? I know you're out here somewhere. Since we caught a fish, haven't got one since that smallmouth came up. So we're gonna see if we can catch another one here before we head out and end the video. Alright guys, I know this is a short one, but that is going to be all for today's video. I've been fishing at this part of French Creek for quite a while now. I've tried the jerkbait, soft plastics, and now spinners, and nothing seems to have been working to get these fish to bite. Now it is the middle of the day and it's still kind of summer, so these fish are not going to be as likely to bite when it's this hot out, but I had schoolwork to do this morning, so I just had to get out when I could and film the rest of this video. And unfortunately we weren't able to catch a bunch of fish, but we were still able to get out and catch that one smallmouth bass, which obviously is nothing spectacular. It wasn't the biggest of smallmouth bass either. It was relatively small, but it is what it is. There'll be other days that we can go out and fish, but we made the most of what we had today, and that's all we can do, really. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Saw a different spot at the beginning of the video, and even a new species for me. Number 61, the Rosyside Rosyside Dace, excuse me. And we struggled a bit at French Creek. That's all I can say. That's all I'm gonna say about this this adventure. But I can't always put the good days up because you don't always have good days. You have bad days too. So gotta include those videos on the channel to be a real person, you know. So on that note, I will see you guys on the next episode of the Ville Outdoors.